Hello YouTubers, today I'm going to fix the driver's side power window in my Toyota MR2. My window is having a hard time rolling up and down, and it's because the gear to the window motor is missing teeth on it. Here's a picture of the old gear I removed. It's no wonder why my windows wouldn't always roll up and down with a gear like that. If you're having similar problems in your MR2, it could be the window gear. Replacing the window gear isn't difficult, and it took me all of an hour to replace mine. Let me show you. The first thing we need to do is remove the door panel. For my 85 MR2, the door panel is held in by 4 screws and a series of plastic clips. I start off by removing this Phillips head screw by the door handle. The remaining Phillips head screws are located under these plastic caps. I used my fingers and a small flathead screwdriver to pop the caps off. Once the caps are off, I used a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the 3 remaining screws that hold the door panel on. Now that all of the screws are out, I use my hands to gently pull the door panel towards me to release all of the plastic clips. I then pull the door panel up and away to remove it. However, I can't completely remove the door panel until I disconnect the wiring harness to the window switches. Since I'm working on the driver's side window, I'll need to remove this black box thingamajobber, also known as the door control relay. You can use either a Phillips head screwdriver or a 10mm socket to remove the 2 bolts that hold it in place. Next, I gently remove the moisture barrier from the door, being careful not to rip it. In order to remove the window motor, we have to remove these 3 10mm bolts that hold the window regulator in place. We got the power disconnected to the window motor. Now we need to remove the 3 screws that fasten the window motor to the regulator. And you're going to use this little access hole in order to get to those bolts. There's 3 of them. As you can see, they got a Torx bit on them, and then also you can put a flathead. But I'm going to go ahead and use a T25 Torx to remove these 3 screws. Oh yeah, they're pretty tight too. Alright, that's one. Where's this other one at? Oh, come on, cooperate. There's another. Alright, where's that last one at? Where's the last one? There's the last one. Come on. I'll lose it. There we go. Success. Ready to try and replace the broken gear with the new one. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 flathead screwdrivers and go ahead and pry it up that way. So let's go ahead and remove it. Oh yeah, that came off easy. And then the instructions say to place 3 pennies down. I guess this acts as shims. And go ahead and apply the new gear over top. Alright, cool. Easy peasy. This is what it should look like after you install your new gear. So I've got the new gear on, and I've applied general purpose grease to the teeth, and we're now ready to install it. So hopefully it goes in a lot smoother than it came out. When reinstalling the window motor, space and visibility is very limited, so a lot of this had to be done by touch. When I was positioning the window motor in place, I could feel that it fit into a small indent area on the regulator. Once I had the window motor correctly positioned in its home, I loosely installed one of the bolts. I didn't tighten any of the bolts until all of them were installed. Now that I have all the bolts in, I'm now going back and tightening them all. Next, I reconnect the power connections to the window motor. I'm almost there. Time to reinstall the bolts that fasten the window regulator to the door. If you have gotten this far, then it's pretty much downhill from here. Okay, before I button everything up, I went ahead and hooked up the regulator and the switches just to make sure everything was working. Yeah! That's great. Everything is working nice and smooth again. Now it's time to reinstall the moisture barrier and door control relay. Since my moisture barrier had some tears in it, I decided to seal it up using tape. This will ensure no water gets past it. Alright, we're ready to button it up, put the door panel on. Got the moisture barrier installed, fixed a couple of rips in the plastic. So all that's left to do is connect the power window switches and slide the door panel in. You'll know when you got it lined up when you can see the holes, the screw holes. Final piece. And that's how I replaced the window gear in my '85 MR2. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. So long.